I was injured on Thursday, the 10th of February, along with about 90 other people, and this is not being reported by radio, newspapers. I had my sternum broken by a WPC. I just finished singing the national anthem. We saw the police line up about 3 deep. Got a little fella on my left, got a little fella on my right. We linked arms, we had arrow in our hearts. We'd been told by the police that protest is lawful. As long as it's peaceful, it is lawful. So this attack, when it came by the police, was excessive. Chantelle Bakr's got good footage. What happened for me was, no sooner had I linked arms than the WPC placed her elbow on my windpipe, shutting off my oxygen. I wasn't expecting that. With what breath I had, I said, "You're hurting me." I only ever saw the WP's left side of her face. She just dropped her elbow down to my sternum and applied pressure there. And within a minute again, I said, "You are hurting me." And she continued to apply pressure. And then she said, "Get your hands off me." And my response was, "My arms are linked with other people, they're not my hands." And she continued to apply pressure. At that point, I felt my sternum break. I've never broken a bone in my body. I'm very healthy, I'm very fit. But I felt it break, and I screamed in agony. The full, if you've ever wondered if you can scream in a horror movie or whether you'll be silent, I screamed. And then I said to her, "You've broken my sternum. I need medical attention." The guys either side of me had got me. My legs went weak, partly because of the pain. I thought I was going to pass out, but I didn't at that stage. And then officers, I'd got my eyes closed, but I guess they were bigger male officers, started yanking me. Well, when you've got a broken sternum and you're linked arms with people either side of you, that does a lot of damage. Over the next 10 minutes or so, I spoke to maybe 8 different police officers and said, "I am injured, I have a broken sternum, I need medical attention." Even a paramedic lifted me by my arms when I was laying. They caused me to pass out. They left me on this kind of surface for an hour without calling an ambulance for me. I was called a drama queen, and one of the WPCs, a blonde lady, said, "There's nothing wrong with you." Nobody medically examined me. I felt my sternum break and I was in agony. I knew I'd broken it, or the PC had broken it. When I got into the ambulance, the first thing they said was, "Where's your mask exemption?" My mask exemption was on my phone, and my phone was flat. So we sat in the ambulance waiting for my phone to have enough battery on it so they could see my mask exemption. When I got to the hospital, the lady's body language changed as soon as I was described as a protester. I was the last person in the waiting room to see, despite being in agony and crying. 3 members of the public came in the door and was also seen after me. I was not prioritised. I never saw a doctor. Wellington Hospital, you were answerable. I never saw a doctor. Only nurses. They x-rayed my sternum. The next morning, 9 a.m, a doctor rang full of apologies. "Oh, we are so sorry. You have a fractured sternum. The interior third of your sternum is fractured." I knew that about 1:30 the previous day, but nobody listened to me because I was a protester. Right, at 5:15 a.m, 48 hours later, I wake up in agony. I'm up in a motel room by myself. I cannot move. I cannot breathe without it being a 10. And I've left my phone about 20 feet away. And that's the first time I was really scared, because I didn't know if I could get to the phone. I had to pluck up all my courage, brace myself, hold a pillow double, get myself out of bed, get myself to that phone. I'm in a motel room where there's a corridor, a lift, another corridor. Ambulance can't get to me. So I have to walk myself with a fractured sternum all that way. I do it in my bare feet. It's pouring with rain. Ambulance is outside. I knock on the window. She wants to know, where's your mask exemption?
Oh, fuck's sakes.
They would not do a CT scan without I either wore a mask. There's good reasons why I don't wear a mask. I've got a bloody good reason not to wear one now. Not being able to breathe because you've got a fractured sternum is a good one not to wear a mask. Or have the nose swab. And when it got to you can't go to the toilet without wearing a mask, when 2 days prior I had been to the toilet in the hospital wearing a mask, it just all got a bit much. All right. So, the day after what happened to me, I read online what I needed to do. I'd got a complaint against the police, and so what I needed to do was turn up at a police station. Now you can imagine that is not easy to do when you've been assaulted by the PC and nobody has helped you. Nobody helped me. But Voices for Freedom sent a lovely lady, Debbie, to be my advocate, and I turned up at the police station to report the crime. And it is a crime. Because I was a peaceful protester, linking arms, that was assault with a lethal weapon. The elbow was being used as a lethal weapon. They would not let me report the crime. They broke the police code. They would not let me report the crime.
Shame on you! Shame on fucking you!
I then asked if somebody would go with me down to Parliament Building so that I could identify my attacker, because I'd only seen her sideways on. I could not see her numbers. I couldn't see any of them. None of them had got the badges on display, and they were all not wearing the hats, which usually means they're working for the corporation. They couldn't spare me anybody to come and identify my attacker. Now, there were police officers up here, so I came down to Parliament, and it took me about 10 minutes to get somebody's attention to say, what do I do? How do I report this? And eventually a sergeant told me, you go to the police station. It gets better. So I then found an advocate, a lady that is legally trained but not a lawyer, and she said, look, they've broken the police code, got on the phone, I now have a crime report number. That was the 10th of February. I've still not been interviewed, still not given my statement, still not had photographs taken, but I did have the presence of mind at the hospital to request that they were taken, so I'm all good for that. So feeling completely frustrated with the system, and the system has to change, all right, I decide to go down a common law route. All right, my background is I'm a former bank manager. Yeah, I have 2 degrees and I studied law. All right, so I know a bit about common law. All right, so under common law, I need to go to a JP and I need to prepare an affidavit, which is my sworn statement witnessed by a JP of what happened to me at the hands of the police officers. And then that needs to go to the criminal court. In New Zealand, your criminal court's your high court. It needs to go to an individual. I've sent it to Justice Susan Thomas. It will be her responsibility to investigate the crime against me. And other victims can also do this. Now, one last hurdle to do. I've got my affidavit. I need my signature witnessing by a JP. Brilliant, I thought, God's on my side. In my hotel downstairs, Citizens Advice Bureau. Went down there, stood in the line. Because I am not vaccinated, the JP will not witness my signature. Exactly. So, I went on Zoom. It's done. It's done. Now, I've got a couple of things. I'm just going to join with you. It's an inspired... I don't think it's a full song. It's a bit of a song. And I'm not the best singer. But this is something that I've been inspired by Spirit to share with you. When I was young, I had a dream that man would love man and live in harmony. Now I am grown, and what do I see? I see vaccines and mandates surrounding me. I see people without jobs, vaccinated in pain. I see politicians pointing fingers of blame. When will they learn? Oh, when will they see that this world is created by you and me? By freeing our minds and opening our hearts, we'll create a future of a different sort. We are not separate, we never have been. We're all connected in ways unseen. By working together, we'll find a way. Our Freedom Village is showing the way.
Kia ora, Jeanette. Beautiful kōrero backed by a beautiful wife.